stop the screen. I'm on. It doesn't matter. We'll start proper the live stream at 9 o'clock. It's another 6 minutes. You guys are on anyway, so who gives a hoot? Hello, William Arends. Great to see you. Great to see you as well, Charles Latora. Hold on, I'm kind of stuck and Meandering Mike as well. I'm kind of stuck in a weird spot here. Yet again, I don't know what it is with Leo. He's such a freaking tunneler. So he's right behind me, and he like nudged and pushed the comforter blanket out of the way to get himself stuck there. Anyways, yeah, I was kind of in a bit of a funk with work and whatnot, so it's kind of nice to see you guys and see you guys so early. And that's one thing I do want to start off with. Two things. Well, actually three. One thing I've been trying to do the past few weeks, I write, well, I've got my normal book, like every week, I do, and then I categorize like each page, so it'll be like description, then the chronology, any podcasts, whatever. But then I also have like, my last cheat sheet thingamajig, or whatever you want to call it. And for the past few weeks, I've been writing 4 things, I guess, at the very beginning there to try to remind myself before starting the show. Is be humble, have fun, and that's for Charles Latora. My God, man, thank God you said that to me way back when. Be among friends, obviously. I mean, goodness gracious, man. And that's where we're going to get into the next bit. And slow down. I have a hard time with that. I'll say it again. I mean, Leo wants to be on the show. I know, which is weird. He probably wouldn't mind virtual stuff. And I think I've mentioned this before. Meandering Mike mentions that Leo wants to be on the show. And this is partially. One, I have to remind myself, I was reminded by a viewer to keep an eye on the comments, that sometimes I miss people's questions and so on and so forth. If I do, I'm extremely sorry. I'm just not very good at this, and I tend to go off and like really focus, yabbering away or whatever. So if you do, just please remind me. Just pop it in. It's not because I'm trying to ignore you. It's the last flipping thing I would want to do. The other thing is, I am so freaking grateful for you guys, present viewers, and even the people afterwards. I think I was actually mentioning to another one of the viewers is, I so would never want to have like 20 or 30 or whatever viewers all at once on this show. Oh my God, that would be a flippin' nightmare. Let's have 4 or 5. Something nice and manageable, and then, a zillion people want to watch afterwards. That sounds fine by me. Whatever, but that's it. We might as well start now. I'll give you a quickie rundown. Also, I don't know if you noticed, I did start putting the new map up here, but this is one thing I did start cluing in this week, guys. Oh, Meandering Mike mentions in the old RPG Empire of the Petal Throne, there was these ancient artifacts called eyes, and one of my favorite ones was called the Eye of Joyful Sitting Amongst Friends. Oh my F. Oh my God, wouldn't that be? Oh yeah, no kidding. Jeepers jumping. What is that? I gotta, thank God these things get recorded, because I can go and look this stuff up afterwards. One thing I started cluing in about maps is, and you guys probably know this as well, one map kind of can't do really everything. So as you know, we've been using the Weltkrieg, like all the maps stuck together to do things. But that's good in some ways. I think it's got a lot of it, like it really helps, obviously, especially when we look at it from a gaming perspective, if you want it. But I've had to shrink it down significantly. And also that terrain can get a bit congested if we're trying to show fronts and, this, that, or the other thing. So this big giant map over here, I'll grab the, I'm just going to grab the webcam, which means I'm not going to be able to look at the comments. But you'll also be able to now see the other maps which I've put up, and I think should help us later as we go along. So I want to use this map here, but I just find it a bit too congested for, you see what I mean? Like it's got all like a lot of writing and whatnot in there, like it just gets a bit crazy. And I thought, okay, that's going to be a bit difficult to show the fronts and whatnot. But we can show pop up things like, okay, this big event happened, and or that big event happened, or whatever. So I think that would be good. Still use this map here for Africa. It's not the best one in the world, but I think it's, well, better than nothing, for goodness sakes. And then, okay, I'm going to try to carefully not screw this over. Remember, I can't really see anymore. So we're going to use this map here, I was thinking, to actually put the fronts on. I know we won't be able to do all the fronts. Like, I don't think we'll be able to get the Caucasus down in Mesopotamia and so on and so forth. Oh shoot! And there's a lot of things I still need to learn. And then I've popped that one over here. That's where I ended up putting the pea soup map. But anyways, I think this one should be pretty darn good for us to take a look at the fronts. I can move them back and forth, and we can go from week to week. You know what I mean? I think that'll be a bit a good idea. Okay, let me slowly put in back here. Then oh yeah, let's get on with the History Heroes thingamajig right off the bat. And there was another thing someone mentioned to me that. Oops, sorry, Leo. I can feel it nailing me. To keep yet again to like a little check mark thingamajig. So I'm going to pop on on a banner to let you guys know. That's it. Let me know. And if you find the banner, what do you call it? Disturbing, or you know what I mean, like distracting, just please let me know. I'll go back to the comments. So here we'll go with the History Heroes trivia. We're going back to the card this week, and we'll see how that goes. Yet again with my little cheat sheet thingamajig. I did say the comments. Boink, done. We've got the leaderboard done. I've done a welcome to everyone, I hope. And we'll start off with the trivia question. I've also smart enough this time to cut and paste so I can pop it in. I didn't put it in a banner, but I can very quickly. So hold on, I think I've already opened it up. So the first one, I'll give you the actual thing so I can read it out here. So we're going back to the cards. Where are we here? Yeah, so it felt weird getting prepared for this live stream this week. I was kind of like, and also the Montenegro thing. Why in the world did I open my effing mouth when I saw Meandering Mike mention that in one of the things when I was talking about, like what you were on the game that will not be mentioned kind of thing. And he mentioned Montenegro. And then I was like, okay, I'll go look up Montenegro, which is fine anyways, because I'm going to need to look it up eventually. And like I said, I better get back to the trivia before I go off into Montenegro land, because holy smokes, it's like holy jeepers jumping. All right, here it goes. I just don't know which one to use first. Oh shoot, remember you get 1 point for just even guessing, for crying out loud. Okay, here's the first question. I advised that the Allied forces would be a stronger fighting force under a single command. Who am I? Little obscure fronts loaded. Oh, Meandering Mike mentions a little obscure fronts loaded interesting details. Oh, you have no. Well, of course you probably do. Why am I saying you have no clue? Oh God, I hate doing that. But you have. Okay, I had no clue before you mentioned going off into Montenegro land and whatnot. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go and listen to a podcast, which I've listened to twice now. I watched, because I needed to learn up on the Balkans and whatnot, I watched, I'll put it in there, the real-time history YouTube thing. It was a 32-minute thing on the Balkans leading up. And I had no clue about, like I said, I had no idea, for example, Bulgaria had Constantinople for a little while, or I think they did. Was it Constantinople? I think so. Something crazy like that. I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like, not during World War I, but, Meandering Mike says, certainly not Pershing, but doesn't matter. You get a point. He insisted on American independent action. Yeah, this is all this stuff yeah, you guys know lots of things that I don't know about. Like I only see it very cloudy because I'm going, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like following World War One. Like, so I'm only stuck in 1915, if you know what I mean. Like I know obviously little bits, but even when I was listening to the Balkan podcast thing, he started going off into like the Russian Revolution in 1917 and what was happening with the Russian troops that were in France and were also up in the Macedonian front. I was, you know, what was going to happen with them. William Arends, you get 1 point for guessing, but you don't get the right one, which is Winston Churchill. I'm glad you bring up Winston Churchill because you know what the heck is happening today in 1915. This is the day they sent the ships through the straits and thinking that it was going to be a naval success through the Dardanelles there. Meandering Mike mentions everyone's historical knowledge is a unique collection of high-level concepts and low-level details. Oh yes, it is. Yeah, and that's why I just love all this little, you know, we're just going off into Wonderland. It's just amazing. Yeah, and as well, like I said, so this day in history, this is where they started going, doing the mine sweeping and thinking everything was going great. And, you know, they had identified the 9 lines of mines and everything was going to go wonderful. And forgot that, well, they didn't forget, they never knew there was a 10th line that had been laid. I can't remember the name of the ship, darn it. Just a little tugboat or something like that. Laid some mine 10 days earlier and sank, I think, 4 of the ships that were trying to get through. I think Winston Churchill wanted to start off the next day. They had bad weather, and then they said, okay, no, we're actually going to have to start bringing in ground troops, and that was the whole start. But yet again, you guys, I guarantee you know orders of magnitude more about Gallipoli. Like I'm just, yet again, just little bits along on the way here as I go. So yeah, you got the first one. Let me put the cut and paste thing so I can put it into a banner so you can see it again. And that was, I advised the Allied forces would be a stronger fighting force under a single command. And I'll pop that in. So that's your first one. Oh, I wanted to do as a, no, I'll put it in as a comment. So that way we'll leave it as the whatever. Or no, maybe here, hold on. I'll put it in a banner. We don't have to see the bloody thing constantly. And I'll put paste. And then I'll hide this one. And then this one will be, and I can say that one, and then show it. There you go. All right, what other things? And then we'll go for a quickie. Well, yeah, remember I said I have my cheat sheet, and I should be using it. So you've got that. I now would like to go, if you don't mind, I want to go to the news. Remember, I get a newsletter each week from the National World War I Museum and Memorial, and darn it, I wish I had done it earlier. I was thinking about it and I just didn't. Yet again, I think I was letting things get to me because they had a blood drive yesterday at the museum, which would have been, you know, I mean, you know, talk about important. So let's go to that one first. I'll just slap on, I'll go onto the website. Oh, darn it, I'm not looking at the comments. And then Meandering Mike mentions, if not American and not British, must be a French dude. Boom! You're getting you'll get 1 point for that because you're on the right track. That's what I can do for you. Okay, hold on here. I'm going to get rid of this thing. We don't need that anymore. I'm going to go to my screen. And then I've got to go to StreamYard thing, and then I'm going to say present, share screen. Also, yeah, the other things, what did I want to, I'm going to, I'd like to go to a website that's not, it's for miniatures, but I think it's going to be for, mostly for you guys just enjoying miniatures. It's not going to be like World War I oriented. And I don't see any problem with that. I mean, it's our life. Okay, so you can see that full on, I hope. Anyways, yeah, so these are the interesting things I thought you guys would be, well, this is what popped up this week, and I thought this was kind of neat. This one here. You sure see this one? So yeah, I thought that that's coming up, and that's on Thursday, March 30th, and it's also you can do it online. So that I just thought lots of well, didn't you guys have your Super Bowl thing? Or well, all of you guys are not American, but that seemed interesting. Now let me go to. I want to go to this guy here, and then there was also this one I thought was. Let's go take a look also at the violin. So I want to get rid of this guy. The football, and then we're going to share. You guys, I can't see what you guys can see. Oops. I see what I did. There we are. There we are. All right. Yeah, that looked kind of neat as well. And nurses comes up again. That was another interesting thing I found out about nursing when I was looking up as part of Meandering Mike says American football is so much like trench warfare. Oh, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking about that when you were you say that in that I find different sports have that weird, because I guess the timing, the way they do timing things, it seems to be different ways of approaching strategy in the whole 9 yards, almost like. Operational versus tactical, I guess, in a sense. So there, we got that bit here. And then there's this violin one, which I think was from the prisoners of war thing we were looking at. I mentioned, I think, a couple of weeks ago. But this looks just absolutely amazing. And then what does he say about here? Although the war officially ended on the 28th of June 1919, August Voigt wasn't released until early 1920. He returned to his hometown of Bremen, Germany with a violin and its handmade case, his one positive reminder of being a prisoner of war. He married Franziska Dembski, and a year later Gunther was born. With conditions worsening post-war Germany, the small family emigrated to the United States in 1923 and eventually took up residence in Indianapolis, Indiana. Voigt worked for International Harvester there and passed away in 1965. In 2018, Voigt's grandson and granddaughter donated the violin and case to the National World War I Museum and Memorial. And that's so neat. I just think you can actually go there, and it's like, wow. All right, so now what else did I want to show you? Oh, there for the on the Balkan thingamajig. Let's go to this. There, we're going to go to this. Can you see that? I hope so. So there, this is a movie called, I think if you pronounce it properly in French, or doesn't mean I can pronounce it properly in French, Capitaine, let's see, is that the one where I don't screw the page up? There we go. Capitaine Counon. And it was, this guy highly recommended anyone who wanted to get an idea of what it was like fighting in the Balkans, especially with all the mixture of troops that they had in World War I. So he said it's a really, really, really good film. And it's obviously been done in English here. Let's see if I can show you another one, or the IMDb version of it. And we can take a look at some pictures. There we go. There. So I'm going to... So there's some pictures of it. I'd like to... Whoa, what the hell is that? There we go. So that'd be an interesting film. I would certainly like to get an idea, but how I can get it and not have to pay a fortune to watch it. I took a look to see if it's on Tubi, but no, I couldn't find it there, so, which is a bummer. Oops, I don't want to get back to that weird thing. There we go. Look at that. I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to, you know, show trailers or any of that stuff. So let's get back to this for a second, and then I'll go back to my. Okay, we'll get rid of that one. That one. And then what else? I'll take a look at the... Let's see if I can get you an extra, another trivia thing here. Maybe an easier one. This one is, I was a commander of the Western Allied Forces during the closing of the war. I wonder if that one is an easy one for you. What do you think, guys? I was commander of the Western Allied Forces during the closing months of the war. Okay, what else did I want to yabber on about, guys? Oh yeah, I did want to talk about... Oh, and I did Meandering Mike. About your... I don't know if you noticed, there's kind of like a little side message thread going on about the your black bunny there. Tim D, I thought, made an amazing comment. Meandering Mike, I should know it, but I know little about the French in World War I. Oh, that's a real bummer, Mike. That's a real bummer. What can I say? Yeah, so Tim D made a really great comment on that thing, saying that the reason why you didn't see the Black Bunny for so long was the fact that it was off watching Britannia playthroughs. And then it went from there to becoming a wargaming bunny and so on and so forth. And it reminded me of I can't pronounce it properly, the rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Charles Latora says, as Sergeant Schultz says, I know nothings. Doesn't matter, you still get a point. So there you go. And it reminded me that there was somebody who actually did a miniature of that bunny from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So I just thought, I was like, oh my God, that just brought this whole little trail thing back towards the Black Bunny, perhaps, you know, a distant relative of the Monty Python. So maybe be careful. It's good that you're feeding it broccoli and whatnot. See if you can feed it some scraps of meat and see if the rabbit goes freaking mental on it. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's go back. So you've got your two... You guys got your two things. I would love to go towards the... I want to show you the Pen and Sword publishing site for the books. Oh my gosh. And you guys in the States are just so lucky because the prices of the books are really inexpensive. Like I'm buying them left, right, and center. And I still have to pay shipping. I think No, I have to go through them sometimes. I can't go through Amazon all the time. Okay, so just very quickly, I'll go through the week that I noticed. It was interesting when I was looking at the chronology this week. There wasn't a heck of a lot going on. They were saying like down towards Serbia in the southern front, and then when I was watching the Great War and also looking again at the chronology thing, one of the reasons was there was a wicked typhus epidemic going on in Serbia. So basically, the borders were closed. So that's one of the reasons why there was not a big, huge offensive going on, or a lot of action. It's kind of a bad way of putting it, but that's that's the way it goes. Also, the Champagne offensive up near Soissons, the Soissons area, whatnot, and obviously the Champagne region, was starting to grind down to a halt. But they were preparing, which I think we have to start looking up, or at least I have to start getting ready for it, because it's one of the Der Weltkrieg scenarios that specifically starts in 1915, and that's the Second Battle of Ypres, and I think it's pronounced Ypres. I'll have to check that again. I was talking with Peter from Belgium, and I was like, so how would you pronounce it? And I think he said it that way, Ypres. Ypres. I have to ask him again. So that is something to look up. What else did I find out about this week? So yes, the Russians are really doing well. In both front, like both against the. Of course, they don't know what's coming around the corner, which is the Great Retreat for them. Charles Latora says, I bought a set of killer rabbits from the guest Not Jay had on. Mike, if you want, I'll paint one in black for your bunny. Meandering Mike's thumbs up to that. So I missed that. Darn it. So that's wicked that this whole rabbit thing was brought up on the Wednesday show on Not Jay's show, I would assume that when it was. What can I say? Oh yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked again. So yeah, the Russians are doing really well. The Germans tried to try to cut off the rail lines just behind Warsaw, and also push the Russians completely out of East Prussia, but they are still holding on there. However, the Great Retreat is about to occur, where the Germans, that's in late May, and that's going to be where the Russians and the Austrians really start to coordinate, and are just going to basically wipe them all out. And here also, yet again, here Meandering Mike mentions Chrome totally froze on me. Ooh, I don't know what that means exactly. With the connection to the Balkans, and me trying to look up some stuff on Montenegro. With the Great Retreat, when I was listening to that podcast, the guy mentioned the Nebula podcast, and I'll pop it in the, eventually I will put it in. He mentioned that the Great Retreat was a big blow for Russia, not just morally, but also economically, in the fact that they lost all that economic output along along Warsaw, Katowice, all that area. It was gone. And later on, when they want to put troops in the Balkans and whatnot, and they ask for help from the Allies in supplies. Basically, the French say, one of them say, yeah, we will, but we're heavily committed. We don't want to start another front, like so on and so forth, in the Balkans and so on and so. We've got enough. We want to keep focusing on the West. So we've lost a lot of people. You know what? If you guys want us to give you some supplies and so on and so forth, you'll have to give us people in return. So that's essentially what happened. And I think a lot of the Russian generals were like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't want to be sending Russian troops to the Western Front. You guys, first of all, don't even have a freaking winning strategy for this. We're just going to be basically sending people to the slaughterhouse. And we've got enough problems as it is, thank you very much, as you guys know. Anyways, and yet again, I just didn't realize when I was also watching that 32-minute YouTube thing. Meandering Mike says he had to restart his browser. When I was watching that 32-minute YouTube thing on the Balkans, and about the First Balkan War and the Second Balkan War, and I didn't realize they were so close together and so close to the First World War. And I also didn't realize, like, I knew the second, from what I've been reading ahead of time, I knew the Second Balkan War kind of almost became the First World War in a way, and I didn't realize even the First Balkan War was starting to kind of go that way, like the Russians were starting to partially mobilize. I was like, holy cow. And I also didn't realize the great powers. I keep hearing this freaking thing every 5 seconds when I was listening to the podcast and watching that show, how much manipulation was going on even before World War I. And, no, we don't want Russia going this way, or, yeah, we're like pushing Bulgaria or that. I was just like, I just had no clue that much manipulation was going on. And, yeah, that was just anyways, so it gets to this point where the Russian politicians are kind of like, they don't want to be in the bad books with the other allies and whatnot, and so go, from what I've been reading, like I said, I'm no expert, from what I've been reading is they kind of agree. They go, okay, fine, we actually are going to send troops, and half the troops go to France and the other half go to the Macedonian front. And that's about all I'm going to say for that bit, because later on it starts getting into the Russian Revolution and all this stuff and whatever. All I can say is that they were supplied by the French, so all their equipment, their uniforms, the whole 9 yards, French. They were trained that way for the French, and none of the generals, none of them had any issues whatsoever with the French troops. that was really about it. What else did I find out about this whole Montenegro Balkan thing? I had no idea that there was such a strong connection between Serbia and Montenegro. I didn't realize, and there was also like these unionists. And like I said, before this week, if you had asked me, what do you know about Montenegro, Chris? I would have said, small country, neutral. I don't. That would have been about it, to be honest with you. And one thing I am starting to find out a lot about from just this past week and reading up on the Balkans is Bulgaria keeps popping up every 5 seconds. So to me, that seems to be almost even a bit more fascinating thing. Like it almost seems like, if they had not done, and yet again, when you find out like all this thing of like people rushing to get to. Like, for example, like even the Russians, one of the reasons why they wanted to send troops to the Macedonian front was not necessarily, to help whatever. It was also they were worried about later on if, things did go the way for them in the war, they would have troops ready to pounce on territory that they wanted. And that type of stuff, like people thinking way ahead. It was just, to me, it's just absolutely fascinating. Yeah, let's go to the miniature sites and I'll take a look at that because I think that's, I've done a bit of that. We've talked about, yeah, so we'll do the pen and sword bit, miniature sites. So the miniature site I want to show you is a guy actually that is a member on one of my on one of my miniatures forums, DBA forum, Fanaticus, and he goes by the name of Mad Axeman. I'm sure a lot of people know about him. And a lot of the links that if you guys go to, I'll show it into the on the website, may not work. It may not be the most well-maintained website around, but my God, talk about a lot. If you want to go and get to find almost an inexhaustible resource for where to go for different scale. Like I want to find out 20 millimeter Napoleonic, like where are all the miniature things, and he even has many times like a brief description of the website, what kind of the sculpts are like. Well, we'll go now. Hold on, I'll pop it on and you guys can take a look and see what you think. Yeah, we'll do that first. Where are you? Do I have it? No, I don't have you on. So I'm going to put you on actually here. Hold on, I just said I wouldn't. But this is, I think, this week, the United States was compensated for the sinking of the William P. Fry, which was the very first U.S. ship sunk, I think in January, by the Germans. There, and hopefully you can see that. So yeah, so they were compensated this week. You guys were the Americans were compensated for that. And now we're going to go to my thing. So I said, okay, so that I think you guys are going to be able to still. I just go to my gaming, go to my miniatures, and then we go to 15 millimeter ancient supply, and you guys can see this one. All right. So yeah, this is the Mad Axeman thingamabob, and I'm just going to make my thing really tiny so I can actually see what the hell I'm looking at here. Yeah, I think so. No, actually, I have to do it this way. Sorry. There we go. There. All right. So yeah, it's just an amazing little site. And here, like I've just, I've bookmarked it straight to the 15 millimeter ancient site. But I'll pop in the link if you guys ever want to, like if you guys don't know about this guy's place. And I'm sure there's a bazillion miniature manufacturers that I had no clue about. And like I said, he'll give you like a quick little whatever. And I'll just pop on over. I know a lot of you guys don't do 15 millimeter. You guys are into the bigger scale, so I don't know what he does too much. So let's go to, I think he mentions here, let's go to 28 millimeter. Oh, I gotta go to the other one, sorry. let's go to here. Or how about go to 20? Yeah, you guys are probably more into that. All right. So, okay. There. So hopefully, if, like I said, I'll pop this in, and if you guys want to take a look, and maybe there's a lot of miniature manufacturers that you guys don't know about, you can take a look, which I think is really nice. And he's got a huge, huge bit up on here, as you can see. All right, what else did I want to show you? Oh yeah, the let's go to the Pen and Sword World War I books. There we go. There. And like I said, I hope you guys take a look at this, and I'll pop this website, this link in again. But oh my God, Charles Latora. Do you know what sucks? I misread one of the titles in here, and I got super duper ultra excited. It said something about subs or something in the Sicily Islands, and I went, oh my God, maybe it's got something to do, or anyway, something to do with Charles Latora, his grandfather, and blah blah blah. And then I went, Sicily Islands, I've never heard of them. And no, because I misread the thing. There's no such thing. I was like, oh darn it. But and you can see, like, you can just, you know, click, and they have like interesting little filters here, so we can go straight to Italy if we wanted to. And you can see the book that I got, which is nice to see that it's back in print. It wasn't there for a little while. But it's just, and I mean, you can see, I mean, well, this is in British pounds. I'm sure we can convert them into whatever. But I've never had it's not been a big deal for me. It hasn't cost me a fortune, so maybe I was getting most of these from Amazon. I don't know. Also, I don't know if you guys know about this person, but this is somebody I just found out about this week reading, and I should know, obviously, know more about this person. Oh, Meandering Mike says, I've bought some books from Pen and Sword. Yeah, they're great. And Charles Latora says, I went 28 because that's what my minis from last century are. And you know what, Charles Latora? Yeah, stick. That's one thing. Just stick with whatever. And you get used to it too. So this guy here, I'm sure a lot of you guys know a heck of a lot. Well, I don't know anything about him really. He just keeps popping up in a book I've been reading, and just like saying, oh, he was opposed to this or whatever. And I'm like, okay, who is this person? So that's just somebody I'm going to have to find out about. This is as much as I know, is he was this first paragraph. That's it. Like I said, just based on what I've been reading. Anything else I wanted to mention this week? Yeah, the Austrian offensive to try to stop the siege of Przemyśl. They're starting a third one again, but that doesn't is not doing very well. Meandering Mike mentions Holwig sounds familiar, but I don't remember details. German Chancellor dude for a while. Yeah, that's why I want to find out about this thing. Charles Latora mentions, I find them easy to handle with my clumsy fingers. Yep, and yeah, and also my eyesight. I was painting, hold on, anybody else I want to go to? No, I think the next thing is we'll just maybe watch a little bit of Calandale's live stream. Hold on, I'll stop the sharing for a little tiny bit. Yeah, for a while, yeah, once until my, what do they call it, presbyopia. Before that kicked in, I was able to like stare at 15 millimeter figures, no problem, do all kinds of crazy nonsense. And then now it's like, so yeah, I would love to. I'm staring at some of my fantasy 28s and whatnot, and I'm like, which we'll look at next week when we do the 1 year. Because I'm telling you one thing, for my birthday, guys, I'm just going to hit the play button or the record button, and we're just going to do. There's no script, there's no nothing. Also, on a side note, I think I figured out a way of not causing copyright issues with being able to watch lectures or movies. And that's going to be done privately. So what that means is I'm going to send out or whatever, and I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to be watching this. I'm at this particular time, and I'm going to send out to, so that way I don't get into trouble or whatever. I'm going to privately send out to whatever and say I will watch it on a private whatever. Not a lot of people. I'm going to like 1 or 2 people or whatever. And if you're into it, you're into it. You're not, you're not. It's primarily going to be things like lectures, because I would like to just chit-chat with people about lectures, but see how it goes. But yeah, that's about that. I think it's, yeah, screw this. I want to get into, I want to do that type of stuff. Yeah, so I mentioned that. Oh, and also Romania is starting to, it says calling up schools from 1900 whatever to whatever. I don't know what that, does that mean they're calling up reservists? I don't know what that means exactly. Anything else that I could look up quickly? Yet again, I don't know what the hell I've got to find out more about what the hell's going on with Africa. And it seems to be yet again sticking with this week to week. Hopefully, other things will start, dovetail or connect, which it did. For example, with the looking up at the Balkans, and then finding out about the Great Retreat, economic downput that's going to happen, downturn that's going to happen for the Russians, causing supply issues. Trade, then with this little weird trade-off for troops with the French to be sent over, and then they get supplies in return and all this stuff. Pretty neat stuff. By the way, Charles, how's Tanga going? I know you've been having a lot on your plate, but I'm just curious because, and you know what I'm just going to say too? I am super duper ultra happy that you seem to be making some progress with it, because I'll be honest with you, I was a little, but you just seem to really know how to bang it out, man, as in you persist, which has been great. Yeah, exactly, Charles Latora. That's why I was saying you have a lot on your plate this week, so I was kind of wondering about that. That's one thing I admire about you. Like, I'm guaranteed there's been many people that have picked up that game from what I've been reading and online and whatnot, and gone, you know what, this is too big of it's too hard for me, or whatever. Meandering Mike mentions Tanga looks like a definite uphill battle. Yeah, and maybe more ways than one if you're the British, I guess, right? Because it's a solo, I don't know. You'll have to tell me. So I guess we'll watch a bit of Calandale. We haven't done that in a dog's age, because I don't really know what else to... like I said, next week it's just going to be kind of an unscripted whatever. Just relax, for Christ's sakes. Talk about whatever. Yeah, I even invited, I don't know if she will, but I even said, look, you can just sit off camera, because I'm not into making people having like on camera or whatever. But you've heard her voice, you've heard Zoe's voice. But I offered maybe for her to come over next week, and we can cross-stitch together. I can start working on my 97th Landwehr Brigade bookmark that I've at least cut out, for Christ's sakes. I haven't even started the border. But I'd like to at least, start maybe cross-stitching the border, and Zoe can just sit off there or whatever, and we can just, that's what I mean. It's going to be that type of day. I just want to just whatever. And, people come in and out. I mean, there's no, going to be no requirement, no nothing. If no one shows up, no one shows up, whatever. And you show up for 5 minutes, you show up for, whatever, man. Meandering Mike says, some games are just not for all people. ID Jester ranted so hard about Banish the Snakes last night after his second try. Oh my gosh. And I remember you were mentioning that he had they did a live stream, different take with him and Tony's Board Life, who really enjoyed it. Sorry, I haven't finished Meandering Mike's comment. I'll reread it. Some games are just not for all people. ID Jester ranted so hard about the British, about Banish the Snakes last night after his second try. And Meandering Mike mentions also, I personally look forward to giving it a try this summer. Cool. Because, yeah, you did an unboxing of it. And Charles Latora mentions, turn 11 done. First daylight turn. Oops. Line of supply or line of sight is a pain. I don't know. Line of supply, maybe? The one Brit unit that collapsed again, collapsed, and they are gone. Back to beach and out of it. Oof. Oh, yeah, I'll give you another hold on, I got to go to the banners here. I'll hide it, and then I got to add one, which is nice that I was smart enough to do the cut and paste. I'll give you an easy one. Oh, what am I saying, an easy one? I've got the answers, for crying out loud. So the next one is, I said of World War I's peace, no, I insisted on peace terms that would stop Germany being able to threaten France ever again. I misspelled something here. And banner and show. So this one is, I insisted on peace terms that would stop Germany being able to threaten France ever again. And let's see if anybody gets that one. Charles Latora says line of sight, so it's not line of supply. Yeah, we got 20 minutes. I think his little playthrough thingamabob is only about 16 minutes. So we'll do that. Why not? I don't really think anything else I had left to do. Yeah, I did mention the rabbit thing. I did. Also, I am going to do it though, because France. Spring is just around the corner, as you know. And yet again, I'm hoping Zoe's going to, well, I'm going to do it regardless if she doesn't want to do it. I'm going to plant a book. And what I mean by that is I'm going to plant a book. I'm just going to take an old book, like an old journal or whatever, and I'm going to stick it in the dirt and plant it. And I'll pick it in the autumn. And so basically what I want to do is just let it weather and let whatever, and then I can use it for crafting and so on and so forth. So that's the only other side. I know it's not whatever, but tough. Okay, let's go to Calandale's thingamabob. Okay, and then I got to remind myself to hit mute. Present, share screen, Microsoft tab, and where are you? Live stream. There you are. Okay. And then I have to just make sure that I disappear. Hold on. And I just want you on full on.
So, the beginning of June, the first turn, I started with the Germans. But for the Brits, it's kind of a nightmare turn. They get a stack this big, and a stack almost as big as being withdrawn. Well, not really. Something like 5 cav units are withdrawn. Well, a couple of them I found. They're my Indian cav. But all the regular English cav is already gone. And in fact, one of the units that's supposed to be coming in is this one, which is already on the board. I don't think I screwed up with these things. I don't think that I withdrew these and didn't bring them in when I should have or something, but who knows. I try to look through this and see, and I don't know. Maybe I jumped ahead, maybe something happened, who knows. But I can't find, certainly the situation, I mean, I didn't look, obviously, to see. It's looking like I probably screwed up, because I'm not seeing cav here, but it's hard to tell. Unless it happened earlier. For whatever reason, they're off the board. I don't know why I took them off. I don't know why they're gone. But I don't know what to do. I'm just going to kind of say, well, some of them were withdrawn properly, some of them not. This is already in. I can't figure this out. So the hell with it. I'm just going to go with it as it is. I may charge the Brits some replacement points to try to make up for it, but I have no idea what happened. And that, you know, It's easy to skip to the wrong year. Maybe I saw this, but I don't think so. I would have seen all this and said, whoa, where are all those guys? They don't exist. I would put them in. So I don't know how those got withdrawn. Maybe there's a French withdrawal somewhere of Cav, and I did that by accident. The French Cav doesn't belong on the board. You know, with all the different paging back and forth and trying to do that, it's bound to cause real inaccuracies. One's far, far greater than, at least in this player's case, than not treating the individual units as individual units. The little tricky stuff and annoying stuff that you have to do to maintain that facade. Well, this replacement chart brings far more in, at least in the case of someone like me who is liable to not get everything absolutely rote perfect, no matter what I do, right? And it's impossible to trace it back when there's a screw up. It just, I have no idea what happened. So, there we go again. So as we pass through June, we're not very far in, just a couple turns in, but not much is happening. Still takes a little bit of effort, but not much. I'm looking at the track for this turn, and yes, some Germans are coming in. In terms of supply, the Allies just don't really feel the need to attack. In terms of one thing they do, though, the British once again have to launch an attack to get some of their Canadians killed. It's always the Canadians and the Australians because they have very limited replacement counters for them. So they have to get them bloodied regularly, which is fine because they actually kind of need to, well, they kind of want to maybe recharge some of their other units, and they have to get them damaged to do that too, i.e. waste some of their other replacements. So the Brits have this desire to lose men. That's really what drives them in this game. Just so that they don't waste them, because they'll be inflicting casualties on the Germans as well. And presumably more, because they actually have a fairly powerful little force here. Plus, if they do things right, they can throw the French artillery into this and really, get a significant amount of damage compared to what their risk is, even if they're not going to gain any territory. Just purely attritional fighting. But one thing to look forward to is this huge stack of units coming here. This is the upgrades of the French Cav now. It looks like there's a lot coming, so I'm kind of like, well, I'll have a lot more pieces. And it's true in a sense. I will have pieces that can defend the frontiers a little better. The Cav is great for putting in the Vosges where it's hard to get supply. That makes no sense at all, but, whatever. They're good there because you don't have to supply Cav to have it at full strength. So it's sometimes tricky. Right now I'm in good shape. The Germans could really use some Cav down there for whatever reason. Just one of those little odd things in the game. Alright, onward. Well, as I've been musing about, I'm going to try to set up an artillery barrage on Paris. If I can get rid of that fort, that weakens the French line a little bit. It's a low-cost exercise, although it may be a high cost in terms of response because there are French artillery there, but I'm trying to mass my artillery now. Because of the loss of Luxembourg, the whole German rail net is running up this way, and I had a lot of guns down here. So it's going to take me another month to get into place at least. It may take not a month, another 4 days to get into place at least. But I should be able to burn enough supply this month to make the game happy. I did want to talk about one other thing, which is the amount of Germans being withdrawn at this point in the game is painful. Not in terms of mechanical aspects, just in terms of the strategic side of the game. The Germans are really beginning to see their lines weakening at a point when they have too much supply, which is one of the reasons for deciding this. I got all my units built pretty much. Well, there's this mountain unit I can build. And most of my replacements are being funneled in, have already been spent in terms of most of the units have been recovered. That's a mechanical difficulty, finding the units, but it's difficult to launch an attack without significantly weakening somewhere on the line, which is why I'm going with the artillery only option. Even though I'm going to lose some artillery, artillery's not as important for defense. It's got its costs, but I should be able to do more damage than I take because I can mass mine against one hacks. So the English are in one of their situations where they've got too many Commonwealth units at full strength. They've got to get them damaged so that they can drain some of their reserves, so that they can get more reserves in play. So they made an attack here. It didn't turn out well, even though they had tremendous odds. The biggest I think I've seen, I'm not sure, but they were up to, I think I hit over 170 before. This time they were at 162, so one of the bigger attacks we've seen here. But they were facing a big German stack. No way they can push it. With the -2, a bad die roll, they ended up only doing 10 to the Germans. The Germans did 11 to them. Not a good trade-off, but it had to be done. It's kind of tough to make an offensive at this point. It's tough to decide that you want to. Especially with German troops constantly leaving the front. It's kind of like, well, it'll get a little weaker. Okay, so the Germans began launching their artillery bombardment against Paris. Good return on their investment. They did 7 points to 4. Doesn't sound like much, but it's actually doubled 14 to 8 because of the demoralization point cost of losing the more valuable artillery. Plus, they're driving away the French artillery. The French are going to have to start rebuilding that stuff. Of course, they have plenty of extra manpower, but so do the Germans in their own sense. They have extra replacement points. They're just running out of troops, the actual formations that they need, which is kind of a weird kind of situation. Are those replacement troops indicating actual troops or just the supplies for them? What's going on with them? It's kind of hard to see because the game doesn't distinguish between the manpower involved and the weapons supplies in the same way that many other systems really at the strategic level would. But it does give you the opportunity to build those things up in a way that at least you have some ability to control what you're putting on the ground. All right, let's start with the Allies. Well, another annoying traversal of this order of battle or whatever. Turns out there's a requirement on this turn to remove 435 infantry divisions listed as such. Now, there are none. There are no counters like that. There are a bunch. What I did find was 135 after going through all my counters that I had. There are a bunch of 5.5s. Well, I've been kind of, good in terms of, hey, restoring my units, keeping them up to strength. Sometimes it's easier to keep a smaller unit because you can pull it out, it's weaker. It doesn't disrupt your line as much. Beef that up, push it back in. So they tend to be at full strength, actually, fairly often. Well, searching through all my counters a second time, yeah, this took about 20 minutes. I found one. Then I went through a third time to try to find some 5.5s to remove, which are ending up getting removed. This brigade, God knows where it came from. I pulled it off looking for the strength points. So now I'm bringing it back in as a reinforcement. Yeah, that's realistic. Again, look, I don't know what kind of level of detail and, attention to that detail that this game could possibly be more realistic for. But if you think about trying to hunt these suckers down, and you think trying to plan ahead for their withdrawal by pulling them back and kind of making sure they don't have enough strength points. I'm losing 6 strength points from the Germans because of this. They can't really afford that, but c'est la vie. But again, what it comes down to is too often you're going to make really bad decisions based on withdrawals that maybe were actually made for reasonable reasons, like, oh, that's a beat-up unit, we can pull it out, reforge it, and send it to the East Front or West or whatever. But the strictures of this set obliterate all that, and they end up saying simply, yeah, you're going to remove these units, whether that makes sense under your current situation. Again, I think some of these choices are actually decrease, in addition to decreasing because you can't pay attention to what's going on enough, but they decrease your ability to get a fair simulation of what was going on. You're doing stuff that you're just saying, this is stupid, man. I would not be pulling. I wouldn't have recuperated those units in the last couple turns if I knew. But no way you can be aware enough of this to really play. Oh, no way I can. Maybe some people are able to handle everything perfectly there. Maybe you could spend the extra, on the 5-minute turns that most turns are, the extra 20 minutes looking ahead each turn to figure out, oh, wait, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to recuperate these guys because I'll have to withdraw them in 2 months. That's not the thinking that was in place at the command level. The thinking was, let's get these units as a cadre, and picking those particular units just doesn't necessarily make sense. It's just irritating. So we roll to the end of June of 1916, and the Germans have been playing this out, this artillery barrage and duel. Great way to burn their supply points and wreck French artillery. The French keep shoving their artillery in there. That's the only way they can protect the fortress. The French don't mind too much, but they are taking much higher losses than the Germans are, just because of the number of hexes that the Germans have against Paris. So that's a cost that they'd rather not be paying. But the alternative, of course, is to deliver no losses to the Germans and just lose the fortification, which might be cheaper in the long run, or in the short run. But then, what happens in the long run? Does it mean that this hex essentially falls? And if that falls, then we begin the bombardment on this hex. And if that falls, we begin the bombardment on this hex, and there's huge demoralization penalties to losing Paris. So keeping up that counter-battery fire seemed important enough that the French have been shifting their artillery in and spending all their resources building up the damaged artillery. I'm not actually at the end of the turn. I noticed I haven't positioned. I could have built some more artillery, I think, because the German, I started the French turn before the German turn or something. I don't know. Anyway, and I also have this unit to put. But I'm going to load this one up at this point because nothing of interest. We're just looking at bookkeeping and then me shuffling, trying to set up whatever's going on next month, which is July of 16. It looks like there's a lot of activity, probably units being pulled in and out. I see both French, English, and German withdrawals in place, so that's going to be kind of a headache to do. All right, up this one goes.
All right, and we're back. I'll pop me up a little. I like you seeing the map more than me. Charles Latora, U.S. Gulf fight sunk May 1st, 1915, Lusitania. Yep. And I think it was mentioning last week or the week before, 2 weeks ago, I think it just docked in Ireland or whatever. So I guess it's going back and then, or whatever. And I didn't realize that was the whole thing with, that's what stopped them doing the unrestricted submarine warfare again when the Lusitania, I guess when that got sunk, that really scared the living dickens out of them. Guys, I want to do this properly, this one. I was going to do, like I had the little camera set up so I could, do an overhead shot. But I would like to do this properly to show you guys this book and why I say it's such a good book. Because I just want, and if I find another copy, for goodness sakes, you see what I mean? It's just, am I doing it the right way? No, sorry. But you see what I mean? It's just nuts. So I'd like to do a proper, like maybe I'll do like a recording and then I insert it as a little whatever. But look at this. I mean, this is just so much information waiting here for us. Meandering Mike says, I think they're up to the 3rd edition on that book. Really? Oh my God, I had no idea you could still get it. I had no clue. Oh my God. Jeepers, which means they probably have done like a much better version of these. Holy smoke, look at this. Allied Meat Supplies. Like, holy smokes, guys. Like, it just, it just blows me away that there's this much. Oh my. Didn't see this bit. Hold on, guys. I want to grab the glasses. So, like I said, we'll take a look at this at some point. But let's see if I can find. Oh, it says bibliographical note, and he's going on through all the different things. I didn't see anything about. I was seeing if I could find a quickie thing on Montenegro, but. As you can see, he goes on and on about talking about which stuff if you want to look at. So I would like to. Meandering Mike says looks like a totally amazing resource. Exactly, and I've just been it's one of those books. You open any page, and I'm like, whoa, what in the world is going on here? I think from what I read in the preface. In the introduction, it was basically the guy said, look, let's see if we can figure out a way of trying to describe all of World War I just using maps. And oddly enough, this week's YouTube Great War show that I was watching, at the very end, Indian Idol mentions Martin Gilbert because Martin Gilbert had died when he was doing that thing back in 2015 or whatever. What else, guys? Like I said, next week's just going to be a whatever. I certainly do, though, because it's been a year. It's not an official year for my YouTube, but it'll be a year that I started playing the mini game. And yeah, like I said, normally this live stream, as I've mentioned, World War I, Der Weltkrieg slant official, or whatever you want to call it, and World War I gaming, and whatever the heck we want to talk about. But next week there for the birthday, it's going to be whatever. And if you don't think I'm going to be talking a long time about my mini game, you're out of your flipping tree. And yeah, just do whatever. I would love to analyze. Yeah, I'm going to talk about I would love to, and I hope you guys want to talk about it as well, where we can chit chat. And if somebody wants to pop up on the camera or whatever, one of you normal people, and want to talk about whatever, that'd be great. Charles Latora mentions, my reference book says first event was the Brits occupied Basra on the 22nd of November 1914 in order to protect the Persian pipeline. Yep. And Charles Latora, I think in reference to that last week, there was that raid that the British did, and it almost went pear-shaped for them, but they were able to drive. We're going to have to look it up again. It's on the map on the other wall now. It was, and it did stop the Ottomans from ever. It secured the pipeline in that area from now on in that spot. But yeah, we've got a bazillion things to learn about. Yeah, hopefully we can chit chat about Der Weltkrieg as a game. And look. If anybody thinks I'm here to diss or to trash it, you're out of your flipping head. You've so missed the point as far as I'm concerned. And yet again, I'm not into all that labeling and whatever, this, that, or the other thing. I'm just doing my thing. And that's that. And I hope you guys are doing your thing too and enjoy it. I mean, I just want to share talking about all this stuff. That's it. Charles Latora, as far as the Mesopotamian front, yet, you know what? And it's always what I'm starting to find out from even with these little podcasts and from reading, it's all these, like Meandering Mike was mentioning, or at the very beginning when we talked about Montenegro, and he was like, oh, all these little fronts, interesting but not well-known fronts. They are interesting. All the different terrain features or the different logistical things. Remember, we just started like a few months ago. We were just thought, ooh, the first unknown front or things not people talk about, the Italian front. And in a weird way now, I don't know about you guys, to me, the Italian front almost seems like compared to like the other fronts that we're finding out about, the Macedonian one and all that stuff, that almost seems like a popular front. You know what I mean? It's weird. Yet again, where Meandering Mike was mentioning about, everybody's unique take on history, where they have like big chunks of detail here and overviews and so on and so forth. And you just put everybody's stuff together, you get this beautiful tapestry. That's it. I'll let you guys go. Good Lord. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a nice sunny day here. Like I said, I just, today just didn't feel right. I'm not saying it didn't go, from the get-go, I was just like, no, maybe on edge, or I'm just letting it get to me or whatever. I still feel a bit off or whatever, but certainly I feel less off getting to hang out with you guys for a little over an hour, which has been flipping wonderful. It's always awesome to do that, that's for sure. Meandering Mike says, thanks for the live stream. Things were fine. Thank you. Yeah, it's always weird when I watch afterwards, and I think maybe that's a good way of doing it. I don't know about you guys, but I can remember back in university when I was writing exams, I'm not saying all the time, but the majority of the time when I left an exam not feeling all that great, I usually did better. And if I left an exam feeling like I did pretty good, I usually didn't do very good. It was like, what the hell happened there? So I don't know. So anyways, I'm hoping to, you know what? I said to Zoe before this, I sent her a little video thing. I said, man, not that I want to get this live stream over with. That's not what I meant. It's just because, like I said, I felt a bit off. Charles Latora says, been doing a lot of reading just to entertain my brain. Yeah, of course. I can see what you mean. And interesting that you mentioned that. When I saw the penny sale at Noble Night Games, there was a couple of Fire Movement magazines that popped up, and your name, of course, appeared in my head. Anyways, now it's just like, you know what, I'm going to take this week off, even though I said I was doing that with the holiday stuff. But I'm not talking about the week I still got to do my stuff. But like I said, one of the beautiful things about this live stream, it's been helping me, motivate me. It's like, it's like, wow, I'm getting so much, learning about stuff. It's like, okay, next week I get to, plug away. And it's like, wow, it's been fantastic. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to, off I go. I'm going to think about, I will mention a few things before I split about the birthday tough. One things I did want to, I don't know, it's weird. Maybe it's weird how, you start associating people with stuff, and now I'm starting to associate Charles Latora with counters. Making counters because of the upstairs for the Tannenberg thing. And one thing I've always wanted to do on my bucket list is I've got some, but I want to make some proper good GEV counters. So maybe next Saturday, I'm going to pull out my GEV game or whatever, and we can take a look at some stuff and bang some ideas of, say, you know what, that looks like that would be a half decent silhouette for a light tank, and so on and so forth. And in other words, I want to do that type of stuff. Let's just hang out, for crying out loud, and just enjoy each other's company. And, that's that. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go off and do my whatever stuff and have a coffee, or such is life. Okay, so, and like I said, now that I found out there's a third edition to this, holy smokes, which kind of, I'm not saying it's sad. I was almost going to look up for the statute of limitations. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to. It was printed in 1970, and I wasn't sure if I was allowed to scan these and be able to show send them out to you people. I wasn't sure. Also, I do want to, like I said, I would like to do a private little lecture screening. So, hint, hint. I'll send out a little whatever to a couple people. Charles Latora mentions, with the line of sight in Tanga going to be an up and close personal while troops are in plantation hexes. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And that's the other thing I'm going to mention, Charles Latora. I'm going to say this as well. I've mentioned this before. I'm not into pumping people's tires just for the sake of pumping people's tires. I like telling it the way it is. Even with your freaking, you way back when, before you were doing any videos, and you were just giving me little text rundowns of the Mighty Endeavor game. I found them compelling. Like I was like, oh good, Charles popped in another little blurb about his game. So I thoroughly enjoy your playthroughs and whatnot. I just find them really entertaining. So please, thank you so much for having them. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna go off and do my thing, and I'll see you in a few days. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. I know you've got your Saturday afternoon war room thingamajig, and then there's also tonight. I think Not Jay will still be doing a paint thing at Saturday at 9 o'clock. Okay, so I'll see you later, guys. Thank you so much again, and that's that. I'm off. Bye. There's my thing. Bye.